Alright, hey guys, it's Brady. So here's the Apple logo, and first of all, this was basically the original Steve Jobs logo, right? But it didn't have a bite out of it at first. Now it does. Whatever. The point is this. See that? Can you see that? Perhaps that's where they got their technology. Look, frick, that's from their stickers. I traced it. See? Look, it's an alien, man. I mean, come on, really? That you're trying to tell me this is a coincidence? Hell no. Anyway, I'll play it for you anyway. Also, the first Apple computer was sold for $666.99.
Because of the Apple II's impressive color capabilities, and Steve Jobs himself specified many of the hues that were included. And this Apple logo was in fact the one used at the Apple II's launch in April 1997. But there was a big problem with this colorful version of the Apple logo. It was very complicated to print. You see, printing colored stripes side by side has to be done in separate steps, and if just one strip of color is misplaced, it'll overlap with the other colors and have to be redone. This meant printing the Apple logo was an expensive process. Janoff suggested that the colored stripes be separated by thin black lines, which would make printing much cheaper, but Steve Jobs spared no expense and demanded...
Look at him. Oh my god, if that's not fucking propaganda, I don't know what is. Anyway, yeah, he wouldn't stand for it. Probably because his fucking lizard overlords, or Greys, or whatever, these guys, told him to do. So, that's why he's looking like fucking Tom Cruise, Top Gun.
Demanded that the logo should remain as it was. The director of European operations at Apple Computer had this to say about the legendary Apple logo. One of the deep mysteries to me is our logo, the symbol of lust and knowledge.
What do you think about that, guys? Do you think the bite out of the... do you think the... Because I went on I know YouTube's all fucked up, but... I mean, how can you miss? Everyone says one... and of course I did too. I said, well, the tree of knowledge, and you know, they took a bite out of it. And so the bite out of it automatically was evil to me. I mean, it represented the serpent and the Garden of Eden, etc. And a more appropriate logo: lust, knowledge, hope, and anarchy. If that weren't only the truth. Anyway, so here, yeah, boom, that's why.
Bitten into, all crossed with the colors of the rainbow in the wrong order. You couldn't dream of a more appropriate logo. Lust, knowledge, hope, and anarchy.
The rainbow colors are in reverse order. As above, so below.
Now, although the Apple logo had been developed, the Apple type still underwent some changes back in those days. At first, the Apple logo was accompanied by the text Apple Computer Inc. in the Mater Tectura typeface, which was designed by Ottmar Mater in 1975 and was quite new when Apple started using it. Over the years, Apple made some changes to the logo type to make it a little more stylish in advertising. In the early 80s, they shortened Apple Computer Inc. to just Apple, as you can see in this advertisement for the Lisa. And in 1984,
Lisa? I never heard of that.
Just in time for the original Macintosh introduction, Apple dropped the Mater Tectura typeface and replaced it with the more sophisticated Garamond. But Apple actually had their own custom version of the typeface called Apple Garamond. This was also when Apple began featuring their logo by itself, although they usually included their slogan, "Think Different," in advertising and printed materials. Apple's rainbow logo remained unchanged during Steve Jobs' absence from the company, but the typography was updated from Apple Garamond to Gill Sans. And Jobs made another mark on the Apple logo when he returned in 1997, because for the first time, Apple featured a solid white logo on the PowerBook G3 lid, and its box featured solid black and...
Sorry. One thing real quick. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's a rainbow. That's the Apple logo. Boom. But and notice they give you 2 stickers with every iPhone. 2 Apple stickers so that you can make this. On with the show. So, the rainbow colors, it didn't even matter. The reverse rainbow, that spell was out.
And white Apple logos.
Cast.
Now, the operating system, macOS 8, still used the rainbow logo, but this changed in 2001 with the introduction of macOS 10. Now, as this monochrome logo began being used on the
2001, what else happened then?
lid of Apple's PowerBooks and iBooks, a design issue arose. Which way should the Apple logo face? The
Lord! Don't say it.
answer may seem obvious today, but it wasn't so clear in the late 90s. There was a time when the Apple logos were actually upside down on the lid of their notebooks.
God, no.
Joe Marino, a former Apple employee, explained it this way. About a dozen years ago, we had some discussions at Apple about the placement of the logo on the back of Apple's laptops. Apple has an internal system called Can We Talk, where
Oh my God. This is so
any
dumb.
employee can raise questions on most any subject. So we asked,
Nah, it's not dumb. It's smart on dumb people.
why is the Apple logo upside down on laptops when the lid is open?
That is the most important thing going on in the world ever.
And the answer? Because Steve Jobs wanted it that way. He
There's the answer.
wanted to make sure that when a user sat down in front of their closed notebook, the Apple logo was facing towards them. He didn't care how it appeared to an onlooker. Jobs believed this was an
Look at this idiot. Sit. Fuck.
important detail because his design group noticed that users constantly tried to open the laptop from the wrong end. And Jobs always focused on providing the best possible
This weirdo.
user experience and believed that it was more important to satisfy the user's needs rather than the onlookers. But just a few
He probably sleeps inside of one of those fucking D-Wave
few
computers.
years later, Steve reversed his decision and turned the Apple logo around. Marino concluded that
Oh, that was his clone.
opening a laptop from the wrong end is a self-correcting problem that only lasts for a few seconds. However, viewing the upside-down logo is a problem that lasts indefinitely.
Yup, indefinitely. Even when grandma's dying. Oh man, that motherfucker was an apple. Your grandma just died, and then you look over and God forbid the fucking Apple logo's upside down. It's a problem that lasts indefinitely. Jesus Christ, people, look. Who the fuck did that? Who did Apple's technology come from? Come on, people. I'm fucking the only one. I am the only one because I looked on it and the only thing that anyone said about the Apple logo was about the bite out of it and shit.
Ken Segal, who worked closely with Jobs on advertising, summed up the issue quite well. He said, which was more important, to make the logo look right to the owner before the PowerBook was opened, or to have it look right to the rest of the world when the machine was in use? Look.
Okay, so he was the he was the CEO, he was the master marketer. Please. This is ridiculous.
Look around today and the answer is pretty obvious. Every laptop on Earth has a logo that's right side up when the machine is opened. Back then, it wasn't so obvious, probably because laptops were not yet ubiquitous. Looking back, it borders on unbelievable that something so wrong could ever have seemed right. That Steve Jobs ever wrestled with this decision only proves one thing. Being right in retrospect is much easier than being right in real time. Now, shortly after the switch to their monochrome Apple logo, things started to get a bit colorful with the Bondi Blue iMac in 1988. The logo appeared embossed in a
Does it matter what color it is, people? It's a fucking alien. Actually, it's probably a fallen angel. These are probably fallen angels. And it doesn't matter. It could be black and white, white and black, blue, fucking aquamarine, whatever the fuck he's calling it.
translucent blue veneer that resembled its
Hey, and if my cussing pisses you off, good, because we need to get fucking pissed. We need to get pissed the fuck off at this censorship and shit that's going on. taking down Alex Jones and everybody else. We need to get pissed.
Its appearance on the iMac, and this design was carried through to the fruit-colored iMacs the fall.
Fruit color. No artificial colors. Like, what? Are you marketing shampoo?
Year. Now this time period was a bit awkward for the Apple logo. It appeared monochrome on Apple's PowerBook, but was stylized with color and translucence on the iMac and iBook. And the operating system was still using the rainbow Apple logo, which was beginning to look outdated. But these inconsistencies were straightened out in 2001 with the release of macOS 10. Its Aqua interface meant Apple had to design a new logo to match, and that started the Aqua Apple logo.
Oh my god, the whole world is freaking... what can I say, right? This is the story of the millennia right here. Actually, this truly is. This is. But this bullshit is just a joke, man. And these are YouTubers.
Era. The typography was also revised 2 years later from Gil Sans to Myriad. But I should mention that Apple didn't use their Aqua logo in every case. For example, products like the iPod and Mac Mini used Apple's monochrome logo in addition to printed materials like brochures and even software packaging. Apple's website...
Even software packaging? Oh my god. I'm surprised the Earth is still here.
It didn't even feature their Aqua style logo. So there's often a tug of war between the flashy Aqua logo and the
flashy
monochrome logo until
Apple... death. It looks good in black. I'm gonna do it in black.
Apple made an effort to streamline these two styles. They accomplished this by creating the new Chrome logo in 2000.
You know what? That's great because it's just like the checkerboard Masonic tiles where it weighs your sins and your good deeds, you know, to even everything up. So, what a genius idea.
7, which they used on their website and advertisements during iOS startup and shutdown and macOS 10's About This Mac window and in printed material. Although this wasn't the only style of logo Apple used during this time, it was a step forward in making their logo appear more uniform across different platforms and materials. Now, in 2013, Apple's design language began to shift from 3-dimensional to 2-dimensional, and this meant a much flatter logo. Apple essentially went back to using their monochrome logo from the late 90s.
Yeah, that's fucking Satan's like, I'm in. Let's do this shit. Let's do it. Alright, my name is, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like an ant. Gordy Rose will tell you all about I'm Apple. Now that Alex Jones is gone, I gotta fucking I gotta step it up. Ow, fuck. Anyway. Yes, I'm your president. Take me to your leader. Oh, Steve Jobs is your leader, okay? Here's the technology to enslave the human race, and then we're gonna take it off from under you. I think I'm just gonna end it there. Fuck it. Alright? Fuck this. I'm sick of it.
These.
Alright. And that was Apple logo history from them, or from some person. So now I'm gonna upload it, and hopefully I can use this picture as the last. It'll end on this. Maybe. I couldn't believe no one had okay, I love you guys, and peace out.